Maz, the conversation that we're having, if you're just tuning in, is it was put out by ESPN. The number one need for the Detroit Lions in the offseason is quarterback. Yes. I'm in the camp of saying if you have a historically bad defense, you may want to address that. Maz is in the camp of saying you have a top 15 quarterback. That's the guy you need to replace. Tell us why, Maz.
Well, Jared Goff's not your answer. Everyone that's watching the show, everyone that watches the Lions, they know that's not your future quarterback. So you've had all these drafts where you're picking in the top 10, and you have not gotten a quarterback that you could bring up through the ranks, teach, and maybe have him take over eventually. You got guys like Bill Belichick out there that have quarterbacks, that always drafted quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo, now Bailey Zappi. The smart teams draft quarterbacks. Who was your former general manager that joins us? Mike Tannenbaum. Mike Tannenbaum says what, Braylon?
Got to draft the quarterback every year.
Every year until you get the right one. Now, this is not me. This is smart NFL guys. I'm only a guy that's been watching the NFL since 1970. Okay? I'm going to say one thing about Jared Goff. He's a good quarterback. If you go back a few years, he pitched one of the best Monday Night Football games of all time against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. It was awesome. It was supposed to be in Mexico City, but they had problems, so they took it out to L.A. in the Coliseum. It was an amazing game.
54-49.
That year, the Rams went to the Super Bowl. They had a terrific team, and he was the quarterback. They didn't win, but he got them there. I understand all of that. The Lions took him this year. Brad Holmes was one of the guys that had obviously been on the scouting team of the Rams that brought him over to L.A. So they take him in the trade with Matthew Stafford along with the two number ones. He was just here to be a bridge quarterback. There was never a chance that this guy was going to all of a sudden be that quarterback again. He's just not that guy. He doesn't have the pocket presence. You heard Dan Campbell, the first 4 weeks, he was pulling his hair out, talking about Jared Goff, even though they put up 40
even
points.
Though he led the league in air yards.
Yes, but he was still talking about the errors that he made that got turned back the other way for touchdowns.
Not to cut you off, I'm going to let you jump back in. But how many times have we seen the beginning of the season fools go? How many times are we going to sit up here and talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick being the best quarterback in the league after the first 4 weeks? How many times have we seen quarterbacks have good, they have a good couple first 4 weeks, but it's the longevity of a season. It's the longevity of trying to get to the playoff. It's when you get put in those moments and your divisional rival on the road in December where you got to go down there and get a play. And it's not that you need a person on your team to make a play. It's that you got to go down there and you got to make that play.
So you bring up Tannenbaum and what he says about drafting a quarterback. The Arizona Cardinals, I think, is a great example of this. They draft Josh Rosen in the first round one year, decide, well, that's not our guy.
And guess what?
And then they went Kyler Murray next.
They went right back to it.
And now guess what? Kyler Murray's not the guy. So how many first-round draft picks are you willing to waste to
Kyler
find
Murray's
your guy?
been to the playoffs every year that he's been in the NFL.
But is he that guy?
Every year he's been
that guy, though?
He's the best that they've had in a very long time.
Best that they had, but is he that guy?
For them, yeah.
I'm not talking for them. I'm talking like...
Yes, he is their guy.
Okay.
Like, he's their guy.
Then why do they want him the hell out?
Because Cliff Kingsbury's an idiot. Let's talk about that.
Cliff Kingsbury made him.
Cliff Kingsbury didn't make him. Kyler Murray made himself. In high school, in college, his JUCO year transfer from Texas A&M, going to Oklahoma.
That Cliff Kingsbury offense was very
the
beneficial.
Same offense that does nothing in December, the same offense that can't win in the playoff, the same offense that was losing at Texas Tech. Where do you want me to stop?
He's a disaster.
Exactly.
When you have a 5-foot quarterback that can't throw over the line, it's tough. It really is tough. But they
talk to
drafted
Russell Wilson about that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I've seen first-round draft picks not pan out a lot, right? And we always
that's why you keep drafting.
We've seen a ton of things not pan out. But at the end of the day, look at
Baker Mayfield, Maz's favorite guy.
Okay.
Sucks.
So let's do this.
Sucks.
So, we've seen a lot of things not work out, but what we have seen is that every franchise in the NFL values the quarterback that you got to draft. So we're the franchise that needs to ignore what all other 31 teams do.
You brought up Russell Wilson. Where did they draft Russell Wilson at?
Second.
Okay, we can go. Tom Brady, where was he drafted?
I went in terms of short. I was talking about height.
You're talking
what I'm saying is you don't need to put your first-round draft pick on a quarterback for it to be the guy.
Then you don't need to draft the quarterback, period, because if you're not going to draft one in the first round and keep a quarterback on a rookie contract, then what are we drafting the quarterback for? Just to say we got a backup guy and Bailey Zappi? What are we doing?
You might as well sign Chase Daniel like they did instead of drafting Tua or Herbert. That's your year. You had a chance.
That's the only year I can point to where the Lions messed up not taking a quarterback.
No, you want your defense, right? And I'm all for defense. I love
You got
defense.
4 picks after 1 in the top 65 still, not to mention the guy in Brad Holmes, who everybody all of a sudden thinks is a genius. So if you believe him to be a genius, you know that he's going to work the free agency as well as the draft capital to make you get the best picks possible for what you really need.
Well, at the end of the day, I trust Brad Holmes. So if he decides to take a quarterback, yes, sir. You know, he's proven
Can I
to
just
me.
say something, please, for a minute?
But Maz's quarterback perception is off.
I'm just saying, the guy in Jared Goff, he's a nice guy. He makes plays from time to time. He does. I give you that. But just pay attention to what happened. He had everything right. He got to the Super Bowl with the Rams. When it was perfect, he got to the Super Bowl. That same coach, that same GM, that's here now, by the way. He was assistant GM out there. That guy in that franchise said, you know what? He ain't the guy. So when are we going to pay attention? As the Detroit Lions, like, he ain't the guy.
You had your chance to draft the next Lawrence Taylor 2 years ago. You didn't.
And we got a Hall of Fame lineman instead.
You had a good line.
Linemen don't win games.
You had
they
a good line, Stick.
Linemen maintain. They don't win.
Now, is there a Micah Parsons?
Damn near won the game by himself.
Is there a Micah Parsons in this draft? I don't know. I haven't really gotten into it that hard.
Will Anderson Jr.
I haven't gotten into it that hard. Maybe he is.
Him.
Maybe he is. All right, but if he ain't, you better he better have had in his mind last year when he took Jamison Williams, he must have had in his mind, I'm getting Bryce Young next season. I'm putting these two guys back together again. I don't know how the hell he's going to do it, but he better get that guy. Because if you remember yesterday, Dan Miller, voice of the Lions, was on our air, and he said, there's something about this quarterback class that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. And that's 2 years in a row of bad quarterback classes.
Now, they said this was going to be a spectacular quarterback class.
Yeah.
And I don't see it, personally. I think it's one guy.
So you still want him to go for it?
If you can get Bryce, yes.
Flannel Sam, you usually have a down-the-line analytical take. You go straight by the numbers, not feelings. I'm more of a feeling guy. I like Jared Goff, so I'm going to defend my dude. What are you feeling about this?
This is a tough one because I don't think that quarterback is the Lions' biggest need. But I kind of feel like with the Lions and Jared Goff, especially paying him $30 million, you're in a little bit of a purgatory. I think in this upcoming draft and with the cap space and free agency they're going to have moving forward in 2023 and 2024, you can kind of get everything that you want. You can maybe get a quarterback if you can get a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud, which they might be able to get with the Rams pick at this rate. But if you can't, to me, those are the only two guys that you would go after in the next draft. Other than that, though, I just think you got to load up that defense because even though the defense has played better, they're still last in the NFL in scoring. The Lions have a lot of needs. Quarterback is definitely a need, not the biggest need.
And that's where I'm at. When you say biggest need, I just have a really rough time digesting that because of how bad. If our defense was sitting 20th,
yeah,
I may jump on your side.
When do you want to get one then, bud?
What, a quarterback?
Yeah.
I don't. I think Goff is serviceable.
Because from now on, the Lions...
What does serviceable mean? Like, even the
Lions aren't going to be a top 10 anymore.
Isn't sexy to me. Like, even the term, oh, yeah, it's serviceable. Like, that I think about it like this. If I'm dating a chick and I'm like, yeah, she's serviceable, that mean that's not a good thing for her. That means, you know what, we can go to the movies and we can get busy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not putting Jared Goff on this pedestal. He's the end-all, be-all. He's a world beater. But to me, he's the guy that can get it done, get the things done I need to get done.
Why can't you look at it from the standpoint that Sam was saying the same thing that I said? He just didn't say it as loud as I said it. Whereas you got 5 out of 65. That first adjustment needs to be the quarterback, and I tell you why. It's because you're not going to keep getting cracks at these quarterbacks. You're not going to keep being able to look at like, man, we had a chance at Bryce Young. Damn, we had a chance at Tua. Damn, we had a Justin Herbert. Next year or 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you're not going to keep being able to say that. You at one of these chances, you got to snag one because then you still have those 5 picks in 65. You still have wiggle room there. You still can make things happen. I'm telling you, this is the best structured situation to get that quarterback, get that defense, and get your guys going in the right direction.
The WoodwardSports.com chat, we had a poll up, and it looks like people are siding with y'all, 67 to 33. The 33% of you, thank you very much. I appreciate you. 67, whatever.
Based off of what I'm watching this year, I will answer your question like this, your original question. Quarterback is not the number one need when looking at this particular team and how it's constructed right now. It's not the number one team. It's definitely the linebacker. It's definitely Mike linebacker.
Linebacker to me is everything.
100%.
Yes.
I agree with you. That's the number one need. But when you look at it from a standpoint like, all right, now with that being said, we're looking at the draft. You got to have one of these quarterbacks to win in the game. Now that your quarterback has to be able to win you some games. Your quarterback has to be able to go up there and light it up and get away from, get outside the box, throw on the run, make games hard, like make the defense have to think about a multitude of things. You got to have a quarterback like that to win. And if that guy is there, you got to take him.
Hey, time will tell who's right, who's wrong. Hopefully they take your guy. And listen, if they take a quarterback, I'm all in. Right? Yeah. That's going to be my guy. Hey, we drafted Stroud. Let's go. Stroud, you're my number one quarterback.
Don't draft him.
You don't want Stroud?
I don't want Stroud. Stroud falls into that Ohio State quarterbacks like of the past. Like, Justin Fields is the one exception to the Ohio State quarterback first-round tree. He's the exception.
Maybe.
All those other quarterbacks, they're simple. They sit back there in the pocket. They don't get pressure, and they throw to one of 3 first-round wide receivers, and they give the ball off to one of 2 All-American running backs. That's not a hard formula.
Maybe you're going to get that kid from North Carolina in a couple years.
There you go, Drake May. So you can, by Sticks logic, hold off to Jared Goff for another 2 years.
Yeah. Why not?